Edward Stevenson, TimelessWealth.net, and the following is basic technical analysis on Cord Blood America Incorporated, traded under the symbol CBAI. Coming off of Wednesday's trading session, shares of Cord Blood America Incorporated rose nearly 11%, ending the session at 1.63 of a cent. Before I get into annotating this chart, I'd like to congratulate all of the members at TimelessWealth.net, especially those that responded to our trading idea issued last evening, which turned out to be one of the top NASDAQ gainers this trading session. But on to CBAI. This is something that I talked about several sessions back. In fact, coming off of this trading session right here that I'm pointing at, what I talked about was this key breakout trend line, and what occurred coming off of the session prior to that was the breakout, the technical breakout that I talked about. The session following that, which is where I'd annotate this chart, I talked about how the market declined at one point in time during the session and tested this breakout trend line, bounced right off of it, and the bulls showed a lot of strength then. What happened the two trading sessions that followed afterwards was a decline in the market, and that was quite evident based on how several of the technical indicators confirmed that the market was overextended. And you can see the relative strength index here was overbought, and so we saw a decline. However, it was a very natural decline, in fact healthy for the chart, because you can see that this minimal decline led to further price appreciation in the market. Notice that the volume that came in on those breakout trading sessions was well above average. Sorry, let me just indicate that with an arrow right here. So this would be the volume bars that come in on the corresponding trading sessions over here. This is the daily chart, which means every bar end or candle represents one session worth of price action. So please take note of that. And then on this period of decline, which would correspond to these two little red bars right here, we saw below average volume, which was also key because it showed us that in CBAI's market there wasn't a great amount of demand to sell the security, if you will, if that makes any sense. So obviously you can see that people are more inclined to go long on CBAI as opposed to sell it. So we can see that bullish activity has been taking place these past few trading sessions, which has led the price on a breakout, basically rallying what looks like a good 100% dating back to this area right here. So what I'd like to talk about first and foremost are resisting levels going forward in the event that the market continues appreciating in price. The first level that we're looking at in terms of resistance is very slight, and that'd just be the close on the day. We'll indicate that with a dashed line. Let me just adjust that. The reason it's slight is the fact that it's basically the close on the session, and just because the price didn't close above that mark, this remains slight resistance. The price could very well gap above it if there's some bullish sentiment in the market, and the level that we do want to see the price break, if you are a CBAI long, is the high in the session, and that poses a little bit more resistance than the close, and that's why I'd make this a solid line to represent resistance. So the 1.73 of a cent mark, the high on Wednesday's trading session. In the event that you are looking to get in on a retracement or a decline in price, which is quite likely just based on the fact the market is overextended at this point, you know, it's not guaranteed, because I talked about how when the market's overextended and we see several of these indicators peak above the overbought mark, we see momentum in the market, and that's what it looks like has been going on. You can see the volume's been there above average and it's been growing, so that's a very bullish volume price correlation. But in the event that the market does decline, we do want to know where we can collect some shares. So the first level of support that I'm looking at is the 1.5 of a cent mark, or 1.5 cents per share, followed by the 1.3 of a cent mark. Sorry, that's 1.3 of a cent per share, and that would be this line right here. And of course the key one, and I haven't talked about that just yet, but I did mention it in my prior video. Again, it's available at TimelessWealth.net under the section Publications. And that would be this blue line right here, which is the 10-day simple moving average at 1 1/10 of a cent, currently corresponding with the parabolic SAR and supporting level right around this mark. So we'll indicate that with a solid line. Looks like pretty key support, and you can see it dates back to being a high back here. So we'll just make that a solid line. And what I briefly wanted to point out was that ever since the price broke above the 10-day simple moving average, it has shown a lot of strength dating back to the beginning of September. Here you can see the price broke above it, and this line has supported ever since. You can see there was a decline there. The trend line supported. Once again here, the trend line supported. Price rallied, pulled back, and the price supported that trading session on Tuesday as well. So going forward, the key events, of course, are hopefully the price tackles these resisting levels. So the close on the session, 1 63/100 of a cent. The high on the session, 1 73/100 of a cent. And we'll flip over to the weekly chart quickly just to wrap things up and look at resistance going forward. Supporting levels at 1 5/10 of a cent, 1 3/10 of a cent, and 1 1/10 of a cent, as well as the key breakout trend line. And I'd say this stock is in place, so to speak, as long as this key trend line is held and supported. Now if you're staring at this chart and you're wondering why it looks slightly different from the one I was just talking about for about 5 minutes, then you've probably realized that I flipped over to the weekly chart, which means every bar and or candle on this chart represents 1 week worth of price action. First thing I want to point out on this chart is very similar to what I pointed out in terms of price and volume on the daily chart. Growing volume and growing price. You can see we're in an uptrend and the volume continues growing, which is supporting the price appreciation. So that's a bullish correlation right there. The relative strength index has peaked, is overbought, and signals potential for reversal. However, again, with these type of stocks, when they are overbought, you often see momentum, players hopping in and moving the market, and this appreciates the price significantly. The price itself isn't showing any sign of reversal just yet, so we may very well see tests of further resistance. Because I have covered the key supporting levels, I'd like to take this chart and focus on the key resisting levels going forward. Now, in a sense, following a break above the 1 73/100 of a cent mark that I mentioned on the daily chart, the only other key resisting level that I can see based on this chart is the 2 cent mark. And this is always a psychological level, just as the 1 cent mark is for various reasons, and I'll get into that some other time. I want to make this brief. But following the 2 cent mark, really there is not much resistance, and from a technical standpoint, this could be considered a blue sky breakout. What does that mean? That means that there's virtually no limit to where the price can go, and resistance really depends on the high on any given trading session, whatever that happens to be. So to quickly wrap up the overall picture, very bullish sentiment in the market. The longs are definitely prospering and beating the bears here. We're in an uptrend. The price looks very attractive in terms of the way it has been moving on above average volume, and the key supporting and resisting levels that I mentioned are quite crucial to focus on if you are, regardless of who you are, but interested in price action concerning Cord Blood America Incorporated. Once again, this was Edward Stevenson from TimelessWealth.net. I encourage you to visit my site and subscribe to my free newsletter for overlooked trading and undervalued investment ideas. Last evening we issued a technical trading idea with one company that happens to be one of the top NASDAQ gainers this trading session, and I've gotten some nice feedback from the members who prospered on above average volume coming into an undervalued market. So that was a great technical play, and if you're looking for anything that moves 10, 20, 30, sometimes 50% on liquid terms, if you're looking for those type of ideas sent straight to your inbox, then it's worth giving a try. The newsletter is free and it's all at timelesswealth.net. Thank you for listening.